Well, it's been a action-packed, drama-filled week.
Certainly has. Certainly has. Look, it wouldn't be breakfast with the best without some sort of drama. I feel like the Cox Plate, though, almost every year for the last 4 or 5, arguably even since Winks retired, there's always been some level of, intrigue, something potentially going wrong. Zaki.
True.
Was scratched race morning with the temperature. Animo versus State of Rest.
Protest.
Yep. What
Even-
else? They're really heavy deck with Sir Dragonette.
And in addition to that, the team tactics of the stablemate Grand Slam, who I was shocked was in the field.
Yes, back when it was hard to get into the field of the Cox Plate.
And actually injected some tempo into it, which I actually tinfoil hat on, and we'll get to it in the runner by runner preview of it. I reckon another stable's done the exact same thing, but we'll get to that.
Absolutely.
But all the chatter I heard was 6-horse field. There's going to be no more than 6 horses. 50% more 9-horse field. Where'd they come from? Where did they come from?
Don't know. I really don't know.
I would have preferred a 6-horse field.
I don't mind the 9-horse field. I think there's the 3 editions being Kovalika, Royal Patronage, and Evaporate. They're certainly not in my numbers, but I think it's good to have 2 3-year-olds.
I think 2 of those runners are going to play their role, significantly.
Absolutely.
So I think it's gonna give the chasing pack more of a winning chance, I feel. But as I said, we'll get to that. But you texted me saying that you want some airtime to yourself.
Yeah, give me a segment. I was just thinking, because I saw during the week that before the Cox Plate field was announced, there were still 26 acceptances, and the only 4-year-old who was in those 26 acceptances was Cheer Wolf. Obviously, he's not in this field, and Joel Prince made that really obvious post as King Charles that he's most likely going to spell if he does run.
Joel Prince, I'm like, huh?
He'll be in the Cox Plate.
Yeah, Joe Pride. Yeah.
Okay, so he's not here, which means there's no 4-year-olds in this field, but there's also no 4-year-olds left in the 26 nominations left for the Cox Plate. It got me thinking, where are all the 4-year-olds? Well, there's an obvious answer to that. And it's called the Golden Eagle, and it's run on Derby Day. But the Golden Eagle, if you actually look back since its original running in 2019, all the way through to this year, it's always littered with quality. There's no doubt about that. There's also a lot of traffic cones who run the Golden Eagle each year. And I've just been thinking, since its inception, has the gloss been taken off the Cox Plate a little bit? And obviously also on Derby Day, which is the day that Golden Eagles run. So I just had a bit of a look through since its inception. So in 2019 we had Colding. So he was coming off an Epsom win, goes into the Golden Eagle, and you look at a horse like that, a 4-year-old gelding. Would have he looked out of place in a Cox Plate?
He ran in Cox Plates as an older horse.
He did. So he was a gelding who ran around for many years, but you could argue that his best form was as a 4-year-old. Right?
And on his Sydney leg.
Let's be honest. Yes. But, is he a horse that could have taken place in a Cox Plate or, alternatively, a Cantala?
Yes. And how many Epsom winners went on to run in a Cox Plate? I would hazard a guess. Heaps. Winks did that in her first ever win. Yep.
In that same race, Brutal ran 11th. In his previous prep, he won a Doncaster. And then in his lead up to the Golden Eagle was his last race, mind you. He ran over 1,200 metres twice. Won first up over 1,200 metres. Didn't do anything in the next race or the Golden Eagle. Now, Brutal was obviously a 4-year-old as well. He's now a stallion. But I'm looking at a horse like that. If he's winning a Donny as a lightly weighted 3-year-old, do you come back in the autumn time? Do you come back in the springtime and aim at a 1,500 metre race? Or do you follow the traditional path, which ends up you running in at Cox Plate? I'd say the latter. Also in that race, famously, after she ran in the Everest, was Arcadia Queen. She ran 5th. But as a 3-year-old, she won a Northerly over 1,800 metres. She ended up running in the Cox Plate, but it wasn't until a year later as a 5-year-old where the bog track absolutely blitzed her. And I think she actually started favourite in that race, or was favourite during the week before the bog track came. So that's just the first edition of the Golden Eagle, right? And Arcadia Queen, even as a 4-year-old, if she wasn't going to go to the Cox Plate, where's the other race that she'd go to on Derby Day? An Empire Rose.
Empire Rose.
2020, Colette. Won the race, but she was an Oaks winner during the autumn. That's 2,400 metres. You'd think she'd get 2,000 metres. Like, would she have won a Cox Plate? Probably not. But I tell you what, it adds some interest and depth into the race.
That was the Sir Dragonet year, right?
It was.
So, wet track, she proved that she, out in her own age group and against the mares and fillies, she was effective on wet ground.
Absolutely.
I'm looking at the historical data. Rated a heavy 9. I don't think I've seen a wetter track than the Golden Eagle that day.
No.
It was ridiculous.
It was ridiculous. But again, if not the Cox Plate, it was the Empire Rose. Second in that race was Ice Bath. She went on to win an Empire Rose, but she wouldn't have looked out of place as a 4-year-old in that race. And Sierra Sue, who ran 7th, could she have been an Empire Rose? Potentially.
12th I'm looking at. But
12th?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But even Flit, she started odds on in a Wakeful on Derby Day.
Yeah, there you go.
The year after.
Yeah.
Or, the year before. So, and she won a Group 1, didn't she, Flit?
I can't remember.
Maybe
to be
Group
honest.
2.
I can't remember.
I
She was
think
a
she might
smarty,
have.
though. She was a golfing horse.
Yeah.
2021. I'm Thunderstruck.
Oh.
2-rack winner.
Well,
He went on to run in the Cox Plate, obviously, the following year. But as a 4-year-old, probably would have been in the Cantala after winning the 2-rack. Or potentially they would have thrown him in the deep end into a Cox Plate. Why not? 2-rack winner. Private Eye ran 8th in that race. He's still going round, evidently. Forbidden Love ran 10th. And a Tissue ran 12th. Now, those two mares, look, is Forbidden Love a mile horse? No, she's not. But would she have been an Empire Rose? Potentially. Or would she have run in a Group 2 on Derby Day? Potentially. A Tissue?
like, I'm even looking at these other horses. I reckon Maximal, 100.
Yep.
I reckon Laws of Indices, maybe. Is he running a Cox Plate? I reckon
He has run a Cox Plate,
I
yes.
reckon he might have snuck
He ran
into a
Anamos.
field. Yeah. So,
Anamo's second one.
yeah. It's, you're putting forward a good case.
Mate, and then we continue. The next year, I Wish I Win. Fangirl ran 2nd. Gypsy Goddess ran 3rd. And Hope in Your Heart ran 4th. All 3 of them would have been in either an Empire Rose or a Cox Plate. Gypsy Goddess was good enough to run into a Cox Plate.
Yeah. I think
She had other issues, but
she did. Hope in Your Heart, also not the most. That's why we haven't seen her, I don't think, since Empire Rose Day last year. But yeah, Empire Rose Day, since the Empire Rose last year. But yeah, no, it's a good point you make. So
yeah.
in this year's edition, then,
Last year's edition had Kovalika, so you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, and if the Japanese can win at the mile, they can win at the 2,000 meters.
Absolutely, they can.
where's-
Fabian Biramai.
Where is he?
Pericles. Amelia's Jewel was in the Golden Eagle. She definitely would have run in the Empire Rose any other year. Actually, I don't hate the Golden Eagle as a race. I'm just saying that
It's diluting.
the existing products that we already have. Is that the fault of Racing New South Wales, or is that the fault of Racing Victoria for not being on the front foot more about it? I don't know. I just think if it's interesting when there's 26 horses left in the acceptances for the Cox Plate and only one 4-year-old. That's an entire year of bloodstock that's not taken its place in the Cox Plate.
Where you'd have to look back to, I couldn't even tell you who was more, probably Profondo of Tom Kitten last year. He was the most impressive spring champion winner we've seen for an age.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, if Tommy's on his day, he's not out of a Cox Plate, I don't think.
No, and that's what I mean with this attitude we have with these slot races and all the prize money and things like that in Sydney. It's like, well, longer term, like in the short term, yeah, they're winning the race and you know they're happy as Larry. But longer term, if it's diluting the product at the top level, ultimately. We want the best horses racing against each other because it means the best horses retire to stud as a stallion, and the best mares, are sorted from the rest, and those bloodlines can continue. And if you're diluting the product at the top end in Australia, you're therefore diluting the breeding game, and it comes full circle. And then you just got dross after year of dross after dross after dross coming through the ranks. And I think that's, again, we're starting to see that impact our middle distance ranks. I think it all plays into each other. You can't have one without the other.
I think there's 4. I'm going to forget the... No, I'm not. I'm not going to forget. There's 4 horses this year that I think would have been competitive in a Cox Plate, give on their best 3-year-old form, right? Tom Kitten, Celestial Legend, Cheer Wolf, and Orchestral. The only 4, one of them that's going on a traditional path is Orchestral towards Empire Rose. So, yeah, it's 100% well-founded. It's a great point. Because I think in years gone past, you chuck those 4 into a Cox Plate. Imagine the betting turnover for that race.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm not saying any of those horses could win it, but in years gone by, they would have been in that race. Absolutely. And therefore, it would have affected the odds of everything else in the race. And yeah, so and now, like, if Broadsiding does win the race on the weekend, he's beating a really smart lot. But I think there could be more depth to the race that he could put to the sword, and therefore looks better on his start CV. But anyway, shall we get into the great race? Yes.
Runner by runner preview. But before that, what I'm going to do is get my weatherman hat on. This hat, you might say. It's fine. The weather's brilliant. Top of, I think, 21 on Saturday. Sun's going to be out.
Yeah, because we're heading down, mate.
It's going to be sensational.
Everywhere you go, you always bring the weather with you. The other weekend when we were down in Melbourne, it was absolutely sensational weather.
Yeah.
By God, what a weekend it was. I can't believe there's going to be double the crowd, you reckon?
That's what I got told. It's what I heard during the week. My jaw nearly went through the floor.
Because it was busy.
It was so busy. So, yeah. Fair to say that our Ned's profiles are going to be working early.
Absolutely.
We're getting on early.
Absolutely. And then bringing some cash.
Then it's up to the gods. So, speed in this race. Who do you reckon is going to go forward? I reckon Pride of Jenny will probably go forward. I reckon Evaporate, drawn to a direct inside, is the fly in the ointment for me. He's proven that he can go forward. He didn't go forward in the Caulfield Guineas, but this is a different scenario with T10 on. Royal Patronage is one of the most important and fascinating runners in this race, I think. He finally draws a gate, barrier 3, or they choose a gate. And barrier 3, he's just going to be behind those 2, I feel, and giving the rest of these a bunny to chase and leading them into the field. Giving them, oh my God, I butchered that. He's going to give these basically something to lead him into the race. So Docklands will probably be next, I feel, from barrier 1, and then Mr. B, Prognosis, Via Sistina, and Broadsiding are all probably jostling for a position next.
Yeah, I'd say you've nailed it. The only one that could be slightly different is Broadsiding with that lightweight, maybe trying to get on the back of Evaporate and Pride of Jenny and maybe sit just behind them. But he hasn't shown particularly strong gate speed, nor is Jamie Carr the type to be assertive like that. She's a get them out of their gates and get them where they're comfortable. To be honest, I was appalled by that draw, gate 8, because a horse hasn't won from gate 8 since like 1957 or something like that.
Thanks, Richo.
Yeah, so thanks so much. But wherever he is in the race, it's going to be truly run. So it's just going to come down to who can handle a high pressure 2,000 metres. Yeah. I think it's going to be breakneck, which I like.
Yeah, they could. Yeah, I don't think they'll break 2 minutes. That'd be unbelievable. But I think it will be on for young and old. And I have a feeling I know who the crowd's going to be on. But let's start with Mr. Brightside. It's his 3rd attempt at a Cox Plate. He's in, as you said, he's pretty much in the exact same form that he was this time last year. And lo and behold, he's the exact same price. He's $8.
He's $8.
And he's drawn the exact same gate.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like they had the first choice. So they're like, well, he got the right of the race last year. Let's just copy and paste that again.
Makes sense.
But the setup is so different this time. I don't think he's going to be sitting behind the leaders. I think he's going to be midfield on the fence. What do you think?
I think so too. But it's just, fascinating to see Evaporate come into this race because he needs something to tow him in against Pride of Jenny, and I think that's the horse. So, tactics. Look, he's in my numbers.
Won't run top 5.
Top 5?
No.
So he's coming in the bottom 4.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Brightside. Bad luck, son.
Yeah. Prognosis. I looked at Liga Assure's form went through the archives. Did some hard work this week. Now, the start before she absolutely brained Castelvecchio, who is an up-and-coming sire of note, which I love to see. So the start before her Cox Plate romp, she won a Japanese Group 1, which I think there's only 26 of them, so you have to be pretty fucking good to do that. Now, he hasn't done that, but I think he's placed a couple of times in Hong Kong at Group 1 level, and he might have placed once in Japan at Group 1 level. But he's won 3 Group 2s on his CV. He's run second twice to Romantic Warrior in the QE2, twice, over 2,000 metres. I think he's just so easily the best horse in this race. He's just a bit of a nutcase, being a 7-year-old entire. So, will the big crowd, will he just get a bit full of himself? Sure, but the crowds at Hong Kong for those meetings are enormous. Like, I think he should hopefully keep it together. And I think they've deliberately drawn barrier 5 with Frosty on. Like, I think they were third to pick, right? So they deliberately gave themselves some room so he's not cluttered up on the fence. I think they just go like, if this guy gets enough room, he will mow these down. Lee Grashur style.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a truly run race. Yeah, I think he's rightful favourite.
He'll get a Japanese style track. I reckon it'll be a good 3 by this race.
Potentially, yeah.
Moonee Valley can really dry out. Which can be mean. It could be a bit leaderish.
Potentially.
Kovalika. Wasn't expecting this. First time I've heard this week that he's been targeted towards a Melbourne Cup. I thought it was targeted towards a Epsom. So he's going towards a Melbourne Cup. Now he's $51 in that market last time I checked with the good people in Ed. So that could be worth a play because the Melbourne Cup, that field is just falling to pieces.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty poor edition this year, the Cup.
It's a shame without a fight's not heading there first up, honestly.
Yeah, watch for him coming home, but this would be a barrier trial for him if he's heading to a Cup.
Yeah. Royal Patronage. Fascinating runner. Barrier 3. Huge draw for this horse. He's drawn out last few times in Sydney and run absolutely amazing with big weights as well. So, yeah, as I said, I think this horse is going to give that chasing pack something to bring him into the race. I think he's going to be third in the running, and with the likes of Via Sustain, a Brightside, Prognosis, and probably Broadsiding in my book, in that following group, he's going to be the one towing him in. I think, because the way I kind of read it is, I reckon you could see similar tactics to last week, not to that extreme, with Pride of Jenny and who was the horse, the Waterhouse horse that hung him out? Major Beale. I reckon you could potentially see that with Evaporate hanging her out to dry, and then Royal Patronage just could be up and gone. But I reckon Pride Jenny still has the eventual pace to clear him.
Yeah. If you're getting beaten by attrition over 1,900 metres, you're not doing anything here.
Docklands. I've seen this horse in the flesh.
Yeah, you would have.
Yeah. In the Queen Anne.
So what are your thoughts?
Well, every single horse over there looked amazing. So I've no doubt he's going to be a bit of a looker. But looking through his form, I think he's more of a miler than a 2,000 metre horse.
Yeah, I'd say so. And they get pretty truly run mile races over there, but I think this will be a truly run 2,000 metre race. So,
Yeah.
no, he's. I'm happy to let him through to the keeper.
Apparently, it was a poor rating edition of the Queen Anne this year, but Charon the Grey that won that, he actually came out and won the Champions Stakes, Champions Mile on the weekend. So, recent winning form at that elite British Group 1 level, and he was only beaten 2 lengths into second that day, and he beat my guy Big Rock. Pride of Jenny. Rock hard fit, proven on the quick backup. Surely she runs top 3. Surely.
She's not on my numbers, Pride of Jenny.
Huh?
Yeah. I just think there's going to be a few too many flies in the ointment. She had a gut buster last week. She has proven that she's good on the quick backup, but I don't think she's going to get the Fian style race that she got last time. So I just think there's going to be a few who run over the top of her here.
Fascinating.
Not potting her at all. She's phenomenal, but I couldn't find it in my numbers.
Yeah. Gosh,
I'm not potting her like I potted another Will. Let's put it that way.
Well, I wouldn't have thought so. Fascinating. I think she's a great winning chance. I think she'll obviously be leading these. She'll be the one that they're all hunting down, but I'm just getting sick of underestimating this horse.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. No, fair enough.
Yeah. So I think I don't have her on top, but I have her in my top 3.
Mm-hmm.
There's Sistina. Are you worried about her kicking J-Mac off?
Oh, only if she does that on the weekend. No, I trust the opinion of trainers when it comes to this. I'm confident she'll run. Chris Waller is super conservative, but if there's nothing wrong with her, there's no reason why she shouldn't run. And other trainers have come out during the week and said, look, yeah, a bit different because this was, all eyes were on the Breakfast with the Best and this is the Cox Plate. But this has happened to me before and the horse came out and won, or the horse came out and ran really, really well. So is it ideal? No. Could it be a gut buster that brings her on enough to run down Pride of Jenny? Maybe. I'm not sure. She's definitely my numbers via Sistina. And if she fails, you'll know why.
I think Mick Sharkey had a fantastic take on Twitter. He's like, I think we all need to step back and realise that horses, i.e. Shocking, won over 2,500 metres and then 2 days later won a Melbourne Cup 3 wide, no cover. And it's like, these horses are tough. Like, they are superior athletes. So it's like, yes, it's probably not ideal, but it's not absolute game. Like, I've got her in my numbers as well.
Yeah, if you're keen on her, I wouldn't be too concerned. I hope that you got the blown out odds after it happened.
Okay. Broadsiding. He's a 3-year-old colt with 49.5 kilos. He was okay in the Caulfield Guineas. Sorry, a sedately run Caulfield Guineas.
I just love the profile. We've seen 3-year-old colts not win the Guineas and come out and win this race. Very good looking horse by the name of So You Think comes to mind. Is he So You Think? Absolutely not.
Not yet.
But he has the upward trajectory of a horse who could be something like that.
He's probably won more Group 1s than what So You Think had at this stage.
Yeah, actually, maybe.
So actually, he's better than...
He's better than So You Think. By that logic. I can't not be on a horse like this. You know what I'm like.
Yeah.
So, gate 8, terrible. He'd have to improve significantly off his Caulfield Guineas run. But I think he's the horse who the 2040 meters of the Cox Plate. I think suits a horse like this at this stage of his career more than it suited Animo when he was a 3-year-old, and he arguably should have won that race. And then I'm thinking about, okay, cool, is State of Rest better than Via Sistina, Prognosis, and Pride of Jenny? Well, he won Group 1s all over the world.
Yeah.
So he might be at a really similar level. If I'm thinking he's potentially better over 2,000 meters, I'm happy to have him on top. sticky gate, it could be over pretty quickly. I really want to see a positive ride from Jamie Carr. I'm not expecting him to be in the first three, but midfield with some cover would be ideal for this horse. And I think if you're looking at the speed map, he's got a couple drawn inside him. He'll go forward, so that might be able to happen for him. Yeah.
Okay. I've got a massive reservation about this horse, and I think it's good ground. I don't think he really, where others kind of lose a shade of pace, he kind of maintains it. And he just maintains that brilliance when there's a bit of cutout. 1 from 5 on good tracks. I think it's going to be rock hard on the weekend. But the Moonee Valley turf profile, from what I've heard, is a bit different to, say, like Caulfield. So might be in his favour. I don't know. That I'm trying to find something.
I thought that before he won the JJ. And yeah, look, the JJ's a JJ, but he spanked that field on a good 3 Eagle Farm deck. I completely get where you're coming from, but if you look at his, like, he lost a linebacker on a good 4. You know what I mean? And what's that horse doing now? Like this guy hasn't come on until he was a late 2-year-old. So I don't have a concern about the good ground. Doesn't concern me.
Yeah. The counterpoint to it, and it is well found with the what would have probably been a good 3 track at Eagle Farm, which is like concrete.
It is like concrete.
He still has the class though. Like, listen to these horses: Bitter Creek, Bazusto, Elmore Zillow, Bo Dazzler. Can't recall one. Mr. Artemisia, Barbaric Lad, Imperialist, PB Noir, China Sea, Smashing Time.
Yeah.
Who? It's like, he's probably like, yeah, he's on the level of like the Autumn Sun in terms of he was that much better than that mob. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that's the outlier for me. I snuck him into my numbers just. So Evaporate. So yeah, my tinfoil hat is right on my head right now, because I reckon Lindsay Park have sat down and it's like, immediate reaction after Guineas is like, no, he won't be heading to a Cox Plate. Why the hell would we do that? And then the more they've thought about it, it's like, actually, we need this horse to tow in our guy.
He's the one who makes the most sense to do it for them. It's all tactics. He'll run a gut buster. He won't hold on for top 4. No, he could very well run last, this horse.
Is this his 7th run of the prep as a 3-year-old? Like, as an early season 3-year-old? Oh man, that's tough. Saw it with King Colorado. He went forward last year, ran last. This horse is run last at $21. Like, I think the Enigma Kovalika beats him up.
I think so too. Because I think that's, in my mind, that's how the race is setting up. Yeah. I think it's setting up for those in the back half, which is why I'd risk Pride of Jenny in my numbers, because I think this is a sweepers race.
Okay, all right. So who's on top for you?
Broadsiding on top for me. Prognosis, a lot of respect for that horse. I've got a lot of respect for Romantic Warrior. I backed him last year, so by proxy, he's got to be the rightful favourite in my mind. Via Sistina, and then Mr. Brightside. That's my numbers.
I heard, can't remember who Mickey Blue Eyes was interviewing about this prognosis today, but they were like, all right, if there was like, say, the Tenno show over in Japan, their best race, or other Group 1s around this distance, he's like, what price would this horse start? I'm like, that is a fantastic
question.
That is a great question, because automatically I go, oh, okay, I can put that in like terms I understand. He's like, oh, he'd be favoured, but he wouldn't be favourite. He'd be 2nd or 3rd favourite. I'm like,
so it'd be like a $6 or $7 shot, maybe.
I was like, that is perfect. This horse can't lose.
Based on that.
on that. And it's like, if he turns up, he's going to run super. I have no doubt. And I love the Japanese horses. I think they're the best on the planet at this distance. And I think he'll hopefully win like Liga Assure.
Just go.
Yeah.
And he could very well run past broadsiding.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. Prior to Jenny, I think she's going to hold on for second. Via Sistina, I think she'll run super from Barry 4. And broadsiding, I've snuck him into 4th as well.
And so you think the crowd's going to be with Pride of Jenny?
Yeah.
I think so.
I think, honestly, mate, she's the most popular horse in Australia. Pride of Jenny.
Yep.
I think the grandstand is going to be on.
Mm-hmm.
And then I reckon there'll be faint cheers from me. Yes. Go Prognosis. It's going to be good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Now, let's just get Moonee Valley out of the way and then we'll get to Randwick and the Spring Champion, because the Spring Champions...
I wouldn't classify that as a Group 1.
No, it's probably a bit meh. There's a few of those types of races. But let's go to Friday night, actually. We're just going to do the Moonee Valley Gold Cup. Race 7 on the program. 2,500 metres, set weights and penalties. I thought this would be an extreme tempo. You have Just Fine and Serpentine from Waterhouse Bot going forward with Akita Sushi, who actually showed some grit last time, running 1.5 lengths behind Herman Hess, and he actually got ridden a bit more positively. So I have a feel he'll go forward. Then I could even see the likes of Nick Ryan's runner, Hurricane, being like the next in queue. But yeah, any firm opinions in this race?
Not particularly. I'm keen to play around number 8, St. George, and number 10, Positivity. St. George, so the stable male, and you can see it in the gear changes, is that since they changed up his hooves and the shoes on his hooves, the bar plates front and the bar plates on the back, you can see some synthetic hoof filler first time. He's been working the house down, apparently. And you can see from his previous 2 races, he's run 4th and 9th, so you might look and go, huh? If you actually watch those races, he's been looming up. He's been peeling out, looming up, and he just flattens out massively. So clearly he's got feet issues. It's usually a bit of a red flag, but I'd be prepared to bet into him again at $8. And Positivity I was keen on last start, but just, I don't know, just flattened out a little bit behind Just Fine and Point King. But I think she's a good mare, Positivity. So they're the 2 for me.
I think she's running super. She was only beaten 2.4 lengths there, and Just Fine kind of stole that.
Yeah,
and I think on rain affected ground, it probably doesn't show her best. She's not going to get that on the weekend, on Friday night rather. 52.5 kilos. She is lobbed into this race. John McNeil's on.
Yeah, that's a hesitation for me because
finding him a lot recently.
Yeah, because I honestly, and I know I say a lot about this guy, but I just after the weekend, he can't be a betting proposition for me. On a serious note, it just can't be.
You're not mates, are you?
No, and sometimes it's my fault. More often than not. But mate, watching those replays, there's no assertiveness.
I'd love to see...
Particularly on Ray McNerio, mate. He took a while to get going on that horse behind Estriella. There's just no assertiveness.
Might try and see what his Saturday Metro or his just Metro meeting form is like.
I can tell you right now.
Yeah, well, I'll talk to some other races while you do that. Let's go to Saturday then. Saturday, race 2 is the Red Anchor Stakes, Group 3, 1,200 metres, set weights and penalties. I thought the speed in this race was most likely going to be Ikasara for Waterhouse and Bot, and then maybe something like this horse called Brand Jam for Mike Maroney down the bottom, barrier 6 as well. Some different form lines coming into this race, namely Bazusto from the Caulfield Guineas Prelude. Found almost the perfect position there, but I don't think he actually ran out the 1,400. Back to 1,200 metres here. Ran third to broadsiding in the JJ. So, he's got some amount of talent. Blake Shin on Barry 5. He's going to be awfully hard to beat for this horse, Bazusto. I thought there was a sneaky good one on the up, though. And a few of these are pretty exposed, so it might be time for some alternative form lines. Winner's Edge, number 6 for Nick Ryan and Luke Curry. This horse was quite an impressive winner at Bendigo last start. Barrier 1 will go the shortest way home if you get some luck. ran home the meeting fastest last 600 metres at Bendigo. So he's got some talent.
No, I was really keen on Busasto in this race, really keen. So hard to beat. But I had a look at Winner's Edge as well. So that's a clear bet for me. I've had a quick look. He's striking at 7%, Joe McNeil, losing 80% pot at the moment, Vic Metro. So you just can't back him.
Tough. Now, the Crockett Stakes is race 3 on the program. I thought there was a ton of speed here with Rose de Vella, Certain Rise, Couples Retreat from out wide, all likely to go forward. Spring Air is probably jostling in a position to find next. I'll be honest, I need to do more form on this race because there's so many different Sydney horses coming down for this.
Yeah.
Like, if you told me at the beginning of the spring, Anisa will go around against the C graders at $13, I'd be like, huh?
Yep.
That's wild.
It is wild.
But maybe she's just not come up.
I don't think she has. I was looking at Certain Rise purely because the Lofty Arch form has stood up and it's won since at its next start in Mornington, but $3.40 is an awfully short price to find out. So, yeah, you're right. I need to do more form on this race. It might even be a race that I let through to the keeper.
This race stinks of a result.
It stinks of, you're right, a Sydney horse at a big price coming down and just proving to be the superior form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Now, the Phillies Classic, pretty
similar.
similar.
This is Group 2, mate.
Yeah, I know. Pretty similar. Like, this is tough. I did have a bet purely out of nostalgia. That's number 1, Cavity Bay and the Mackay Diva Silks. You rarely see these silks go around anymore.
You do, yeah.
But I had a look, because I saw that. I'm like, oh, this would be my bet in the race if I have one. But then I actually looked through. The Hill Stakes is one of Morphettville's, it's almost like their Melbourne Cup for me, because it's actually a really good form reference for races heading towards the Wakeful on Derby Day.
Yeah.
And Victoria Key won it, or she ran second to Ain't No Deal Done, who at the time was easily the best staying 3-year-old, but the Freeman camp just, they're playing chess when everyone else is playing checkers, and they're like, bruh, we're not taking him to a derby. And yeah, the rest is history. But she ran second against the boys there, only beaten 2 lengths. She's come up $3.70, which stinks a bit, but I think she can run a nice race for you.
Yeah, I was just looking at stables in this race, honestly, because there's a few that are coming from the sort of country meetings, and Kieran Maher with a shocking filly, Chocolate's number 6. Look, she clearly took over, clearly beat that lot in Bendigo. She was a $1.45 favourite. She's $9.50 here with Ned's, but like, who'd she beat? But I could say that about a lot of these things. The other one is number 9, Double Market, with the Hayes boys, purely because that stable's flying. And he made a good point about Castle Vecchio. She's by Castle Vecchio, and quite often with these sides, once they get 1 or 2, all of a sudden, they're just posting winners left, right, and centre. So they're the 2 for me that I was sort of looking at.
Yeah, nice. The JRA Cup is race 5 over 2,040 metres. Set weights. Chips in. Hello.
Chips in short. But I think number 4, Kingswood's a good horse.
Yeah?
I think he is, yeah. Kunji Cup winner last week. Probably the only winner I backed all week. It was on a bloody Wednesday. But he just looked like a horse who was destined for group level success. Dog shit Johnny on, but Johnny's started to find some form, and he's got gate 1 Moonee Valley, and he'll roll relatively forward. So, yeah, I think he's going to be really, really hard to beat Kingswood. He's a short price, but I'm happy to play.
You know why Johnny's coming into form? Because it's Derby season, mate.
Darby. That's his middle name. Smoke and Romans. He ran 5th to Kingswood last start in the Kunji Cup. That horse won a Turnbull Stakes.
Yeah.
He finds himself here at $11.
Wild. I was willing to give Future History another chance. Like, if I liked him, and the market liked him too in the Metrop. So, and I'm getting $5.50, and this is far easier. Barrier 3 is going to do no work. Maybe just back on his Melbourne leg, he'll be super. Mark on. So I could give him another chance. There's horses that like to be like forward in their runs here, like Future History, Gear Up, Smoke and Romans, Kingswood. But there's no like clear leader. So it's like, I reckon they might just go like, are you going to lead? But I reckon Mark might, hopefully.
Mark.
He might do a deny knowledge. That style of operation. That was my toe.
Jesus.
Yeah. All right. Now, the Vars, the Moonee Valley Vars, 2,040 meters, Group 2 for the 3-year-old set weights. The Geelong Classic didn't really inspire anything from me today, so I think this. If my pick here doesn't win, I have no idea what's happening in the Derby.
Oh, go on then.
I'm chips in on Politely Done. I thought he ran super in the Derby preview. Only beaten 0.4 of a length at Flemington, so he's ticked the Flemington box for me. Then, when he went to his 2,000 metre maiden at Ballarat, which I said this last week, he absolutely donkey-legged him by 3.5 lengths, sitting 3 wide, no cover back in the field. Danny O'Brien's with a staying 3-year-old, Frosty on, Barry 9. He's gonna get back. He's gonna have to loop him. I think he'll be running on really nicely. I can't see him missing the top 3, basically.
I have no firm opinion on this race whatsoever. I've got no idea when it comes to the Derby this year. It's just going to be a watch race for me because it'll help me make my decision for the Derby. I'm interested to see how number 3 Firm Agreement goes because it's coming out of that Gloaming Stakes.
Dual accepted.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah, so it's accepted in the Spring Champion.
As well? Okay. Well, I hope it runs here just because I just want to see if that form stacks up to see if it's worth, is something going to come out of the Spring Champions and maybe back up in the Derby and be just a better bet? You know what I mean?
Henline, for instance. He looks like he'll eat up the ground. And when we saw him at Moonee Valley, he got around if you get around Moonee Valley, surely you hopefully get around Flemington.
Oh, you'd hope so. But no, I can't have a firm opinion on this race. It's not a betting race for me.
Yeah, it's a good point about Firm Agreement because he's $3.80 in the market. And it's like, if he gets scratched, you're going to be probably asked to take about $2.90 to $3 for Politely Done. It's like, oh.
And I don't have the confidence to bet into him at that price.
Yeah, it's a good point. So maybe I'm a braver man on the day. The McEwen Stakes, so Group 2, 1,200 metre contest at weight for age level. Now, Oscar's Fortune, WA Galloper, beat home Amelia's Jewel earlier this year in April. I've had an opinion of this horse that I don't think he's a 1,200 metre horse. I think he's like a really sharp sprinter.
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't mind a roughie in this race. There just looks to be a lot of speed, and I think there's a mare who'll sit behind the speed with J-Mac on. That's number 9, Extra 2. She's 20-1 at the moment. Her last 2 starts, she hasn't been at her best. But if you look at her Moonee Valley form, she's a track specialist. She's 5 starts there for 3 wins and 1 second. Draws gate 1, so I think J-Mac will get her right behind the speed. And at that price, like a lot of these are just going to go gangbusters up front. And to your point, I think your Oscar's Fortunes and your Mornington Glories and your Celluise are more of your 1,000, 1,100 metre horses. I think the one who's at short odds, who's probably going to be hardest to beat, is Barrack Hill, and it's 4-1. But I'm happy to, 20-1. I'm happy to bet into that.
Yeah. Oh, mate, I'm not going to pot you for that. Barrack Hill's the one.
He's clearly the danger for Extra 2.
I think Barrier 5, 6-year-old gelding. This is his 8th start.
Yeah, very lightly raced.
So obviously there's been some issues there, but first up. And I think the important thing for me for this horse is actually watching what the market's done. So first up, he was 850 into 650, where he was 3rd behind Moby Dick. Now Moby Dick
had Wall at a big price.
Yeah. Now Moby Dick was a certainty beaten today at Geelong. But then the next start when we were there at Moonee Valley, he absolutely brained that field. Now, you might say, hey, that's only a benchmark 84, but War Machine was in that field and he ran super in the Silver Eagle. So, and Barber was back into 4th, beaten 4 lengths. Barber came out and beat Moby Dick today. So I think the form's going to stack up. $4, I'm keen on Barrakill. I think he'll run super.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the market's supported him each time. I've got some confidence there. Now, the Crystal Mile. This was one of the races, along with the JRA Cup, that Royal Patronage had nominated in. But they decided on the Cox Plate, and I suppose only Waterhouse Bob runner in the race, right?
Yeah.
So, makes sense.
Just wanted to have one in there, yeah.
Yeah. Crystal Mile, 1,600 metres, Group 2, set weights and penalties. Now, I thought Royal Champion will likely be going forward here, and potentially like someone like a Nugget or a light infantry man. I don't think there's going to be a stack of speed on here, though.
No. We were keen on Royal Champion last start. Just didn't. Like, he was just stinky poo-poo. I think he put a line through that.
He was fat. He was jumping all over the mounting yard.
Clearly hated the deck.
Sweating. Soft deck. And I think the market loved him, though.
They did, yeah. So if you... I couldn't talk you out of it here at all. This is a race for me that I will not bet until I see the mounting yard. Because if he does the exact same thing, I don't want to have a single cent on him.
Yep.
If he looks good in the mounting yard, chips in. Paul Pruska, I don't know what he's doing with Sapati, but I think he's got a smarty here, number 8, Poison Chalice. That resumed beating home Vidad, who was a winner its previous start. I'm pretty sure maybe ran second. In a benchmark 84 race, he's clearly better than that. He ran in the Wayne Wilson, which was a listed race. He failed there after coming from Eagle Farm. Before that, he was absolutely flying in that first sort of prep that he had with a couple of wins. And the way he put away that field last start, he looks like a horse who's a genuine black type horse, Poison Chalice. So he's at $8 at the moment. Royal Champion and Poison Chalice are the two for me. I want to see Royal Champion. If he looks good and he's relaxed, I think he could just spank these at $5. But Poison Chalice is the other one.
Yeah. Okay. The other one who I was considering was Plenty of Ammo. Now for Simon Wild, 6-year-old mare. She's very lightly raced as well. Only had the 6 career starts, but 4 wins and a second. Now she was second behind Uncle Bryn, so that was the Royal Champion race as well. Royal Champion meets her 5 kilos better at the weights here. Like I think that could be described as significant.
Weight for age, like he's got proven weight for age form overseas. If he turns up well, he's a clear bet for me.
Yeah.
$5.
Yeah, and like Uncle Bryn, you can't really take away from that performance. Even though he was 80-1, he was super. But similar situation here. Like Royal Champion gets, what's he get? He gets 3.5 or 4 kilos off him. So I think only beaten. He was beaten 3.5 lengths, but I think there's so much more in his corner here. $5, I'm willing to have a gamble. Now, race 10 is the Tessio Stakes. 2,040 metres, Group 3 for the mares. Handicap conditions. Would I be so bold to say the best bet of the days in the last?
I hope you say Firestorm.
It is.
Oh, clear bet.
Yeah.
Clear bet. Completely forget her run on the Epsom. Her form before that's been electric. And she's only got 54.5 kilos, draws super, gets the dry deck with Damien Lane on, who's been riding well for Waller at the moment. Yeah, it's clear bet for me. Clear bet.
Yeah. And I think not only has her form been good, it's been good against the boys. This is back to her own sex here.
Yep.
Barrier 4, Frosty on. There is just ticks galore, and you're getting 340. That is a gift.
I don't think she'll start 340. I think she'll be starting more like a 270.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, maybe we should start doing that. Pricing up markets. She's 270 in my mind.
Yeah. All right. Shall we get to Randwick?
Yes.
All right.
How long have we been going?
50 mins.
Okay.
That's all right. It's not too bad.
It's not too bad. It's Cox Plate after all. Let us indulge.
Yeah. Okay. Spring Champion, race 7, 2,000 metres, Group 1 for the 3-year-olds, set weights. We're not going to do a runner by runner here.
No.
But I thought I could give you some sort of speed, Matt. It's the least I could do. Now, I thought El Costello from Barrier 8 will try and find a position. He's done that before, this prep. Firm Agreement will probably go forward as he did last start as well. Harlem Queen can probably go forward. And then Noises down the bottom at any old odds will probably want to find a position from out wide as well.
Do you think we'll walk here? I don't think they'll be that quick.
Yeah, whenever I see something that has gone forward in their form references, like Noises, they've drawn out and they're at $50. I'm like, they have nothing to lose. So I think that something like that's going to inject some pace, and then there might be some other. You see it all the time in these style of races, like might have been in the Derby or something, or the Oaks or something last year. Could have been this race last year, actually. It's just like there's 3 horses. The top 3 horses in the running are just like 51, 100 to 1, 80 to 1. And it's like you just basically pen those 3, and it's like whoever is the shortest price in those after those that's the true leader. Yeah. So it kind of sets up better for the likes of Swift Falcon and Henline. Yeah. That's the way I read it.
Yep, makes sense. Talking about reviewing black type races, the pattern committee and all that bullshit, this race has to go. It's not a Group 1. And, I think if a colt wins this, probably standing at stud somewhere in Queensland next to Alpine Edge. In saying that, I'm going to back a colt in number 1, El Costello. He's been super this prep. He's been undefeated. And I thought Swift Falcon was clearly the flashing light out of that Gloaming Stakes race. And Henley's, he's a horse who's looking for further, in my book. Yeah, I think so. I think he'll be storming home nicely. And I think you can say to yourself, take that horse to the Derby. And I think he's the horse that I'm probably leaning towards in the Derby, actually. But I couldn't fault El Costello. And I think even though he's drawn gate 8, it's not ideal, but he's got a positive enough gate speed that he'll be there or thereabouts. Josh Parr is a bit underrated as a jockey, I find. Plus, this guy's by Castelvecchio, and I just want to see him have success in the breeding barn. So he's the one on top for me. Do you know what? I think the filly's a big chance too, number 8, Harlem Queen.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
No. She's got the Lady Shenandoah form. And she obviously blew away that field, but she didn't get going until late in the piece. And we're talking about Brutal earlier. She's by Brutal, so I would imagine she'll lead up the 2,000 metres. They're the 2 for me, but obviously, Swift Falcon and Henleen were in my consideration as well.
Yeah. There's 2 fillies outside of those that I'll get to eventually. I think Swift Falcon just goes out and brains this lot. I really do. And I think Henline runs on well for second. Swift Falcon, I think, breaks a long go of outs for the Hawks team. I think they've
they've had a long go of outs.
And when, to their credit though, when they set their horses towards a Group 1 target, they typically get it pretty spot on. It's like, I just don't think they've had many good ones recently.
No.
So it's like, I think they've got a pretty good gelding here that hopefully we see him come out, win this by 3, and then if he progresses, he's in like something like a Queen Elizabeth in the autumn. That's what I want to see.
Yep.
That's the storyline I'm going for. So Swift Falcon is my clear on-top selection from Henline. But 2 fillies I wanted to talk about. The first one is Pleasure Artist. Now, she was she was nominated rather for the Brian Crow. No, it wasn't. It was the Calendar Presnell over 1,600 metres for the 3-year-olds at set weights. I thought she would have been a moral in that race. She had an absolute mortgage on it because that race has come up so light, and I'm just 1,600 to 2,000. That gives me the ick a bit. And now, especially with the gap, I think it's like 3 weeks between runs. She has to be as good as I think she is to kind of like win that. And listening to the stable this morning as well, she's a lightly framed filly. She might be prep away.
Yep.
So I think she's a filly with a lot of talent. Barry 5, she's going to do no work with Jason Colladon. Now, what about this? David Payne and Chad Schofield, the 2 South African guys. Chad's in some Group 1 winning form of late. Now, Rag Queen Number 9. She's always hit the line like a horse that would appreciate further, and her form is suggesting that. First time out to this distance, I think she'll be absolutely rattling home. So I might have a Ned's Same race multi sneaking her into my top 4.
David Payton's won this with a filly before, hasn't he? Montefilia?
Monty.
So, no, yeah, good point. Yeah, El Costello on top for me. Swift Falcon, Henleen, and Harlem Queen.
Lovely. Now, the Brian Crowley is race 4 on your Randwick programs. 1,200 metres listed race. Now, there's a little bit of rain around in Randwick this week, but not enough to be downgrading this. I think we race on a good 4 and potentially get upgraded throughout the day. Now, your track is 5 metres out from the mile to the winning post and then 3 metres for the remainder. So take that as you will. Now, the Brian Crowley, 1,200 metres listed race, set weights and penalties conditions. I have to forgive him, King of Russo. I think back to 1,200 metres, K-Mac on, just was not his day last day out. It was 3 wide, no cover. He was 1,100 to 1,400, back to 1,200 metres where he has shown some toe. $7.50, I can have a little bet there.
Oh, this is a gross race. I can't find an angle in this race. I'm looking at High Octane, and I'm looking at the race that he comes out of, the Switzerland race, and they were just so much better than him. He was slow away, but and he comes up here at $5.50. This is a significantly weaker field. If he's $5.50, I can't get excited about anything else in this race.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Now, the Calendar Presnell, 1,600 metres, Group 2 for the 3-year-olds at set weights. You'll remember Chrysaor won this, knocking off Snowman at $26 last year. Now, Anode's come up 260. He fell in at 1,400 metres. Although good track will be in his favour, he'll be the likely leader. Does he just go out and win again? I'm happy to take him on.
Yeah, I might take him on. I don't mind depth of character. Is that silly? At $10?
Rarely, when I'm on them and hop off them, you jump on.
Yeah, he's
$10.
He's $10, and I find maybe the last 2 runs question marks over them, but I've just got a bad feeling that if I'm not on him, he'll win. So depth of character.
If you're doing that, I'm having $5 on, but that probably takes away his winning chances. I thought Deconstruction for Kieran Maher, Jason Collett ran on quite nicely in the Tap Craig. Looks like the mile will definitely suit him, where I have some reservations around Anode and Just Party. So same form reference, just I think he could potentially be the winning chance. Now, the Craven Plate, 1,800 metres, Group 3 for the at weight for age level. This was tough. This was very tough. Very even bunch here. 440 the field, but you have to be extremely forgiving of Faulkner Park, who's been absolute dog shit this prep.
Yes. I looked at him and I thought if he's come good, he'll spank these and you might not get $4.40 again. Wait for Age suits him. Tyler Schiller sticks. Yeah, I think that Underwood Stakes run, you just completely put a line through it. If he turns up like the Queensland Carnival, Faulkner Park, he just puts his field away.
Yeah.
Because we know the rest of these, we know where they're at. Lindeman's an interesting one, but he's dual accepted. I think he's drawn like gate 1,000 in the other race.
He got scratched from that race.
Oh, did he? Okay, so he's running here.
Yeah. Barrier 1 probably goes forward, tough to run down.
1,800 metres, way more up his alley than the 1,400 metres in the Alan Brown Stakes, which is the world's richest listed race. So yeah, they're the two. But I don't know. There's some races where I'm really keen on this weekend. There's others where I'm like, oh, it's just pure dross.
That's
Jesus,
fair.
Spring Carnival's really fallen away this week, that's for sure.
I might jump on Democracy Manifest.
Succulent Chinese meals.
He has pretty good form. Like, I don't think he's up to the...
No.
He's not up to Group 1 level.
No.
But the stable just continue to ride him in them. Now, he gets a bully of a jockey on. He gets Nash on, which I think he needs to really rev him up a bit. And I think there'll be enough pace in here with the likes of New Marion, Lindemann, Arapaho, Redina if he goes forward. Converge can go forward, Spirit Ridge. So I think he's fit enough and ready enough. He's ready to mow these down at 1,800. Now, race 8 on the program is the Invitation. Good little race this. But again, it kind of dilutes. They literally put this in because the Empire Rose is next week. So Group 2 for the fillies and mares, set weights and penalties, 1,400 metres. Zugocha, Barry 5, Magic Man on, 390. Yum yum.
I think that's a bet, absolutely. I'd be petrified of Magic Time.
Mate, she is.
She's well in this race, isn't she?
Oh, yeah, she is.
Well in this race.
Barry 11 stinks, but she's
stinky.
Class, though.
Absolutely. I think Zooey's drawn perfectly, and she's going to get the gun run because she's super consistent. I think Magic Time has the brilliance to run her down. But she needs to get into a nice position. But guess who she's got on?
Yeah.
When was the last time Nash rode for Graham Beck?
Well, he's had one ride, one win on this horse.
There you go.
When was that? That was in the Navision last year.
Yeah, so I'd be petrified of Magic Time if you're a Zoo Gotcha backer. Alentia was an absolute bomb first up. And yeah, she went super. She put him to the sword. She drops off as her prep goes.
Now, people might look at that and go like, hang on a second. She's 50% winning strike rate second up. Look deeper into the form there, Drifters. Last 2 preps, she's been beaten about 2.5 lengths into 5th or 4th each time. So as she gets against these more elite fields, she's not as well placed or not as well set up.
Absolutely.
Second up.
Look who she brained last start. Anyway, the roughie is number 9, Roll on High, because she can turn up in a race like this and just run super and then run dog shit for her next 6 starts. that's her. And she's 21 to 1. So I don't know what they're going to do with her. Maybe aim her towards a Rupert Clark or something like that. But
no moves. He'll probably send her over to Perth or something. I don't know.
Yeah, he's funny, isn't he?
Yeah,
he is funny. But no, I think that the top 2 in the market. Well,
yeah,
I'm risking Alentia. I think Zugocha and Magic Time is they're the 2.
Good roughie here. Dog shit stable, Arctic Glamour. First mare home in the Epsom. Only beaten 2 lengths there, and she's been hitting the line really nicely. Again, back to her own sex here. I think she'll run a big race for you at 20 to 1. Barrier 14 does stink. K-Mac retains the ride here. Not retains, but he gets the ride back. He does ride this horse best. He gets on with her quite well. Shocked to see that her strop, she's only 2 from 15. She was a winning machine early days. So, yeah, I think she'll run a big race. And then the other one who could turn her form around as well is Macarena. Barrier 1 for the Hawks stable. Against the boys, she was quite frankly disgraced in the Alan Brown, but she was hung out to dry, nowhere to really go. Before that, she was knocking off Millie's Jewel and Arctic Glamour. So I think she'll run a big race for you. But now the 5 Diamonds Prelude. Listed race, 1,500 metres. Set weights and penalties. What's the prize money here? $1 million? You got to be kidding.
Oh, they're delusional.
That is insanity. I'm actually shocked by that.
The field would be the same if it was half.
That's wild.
Actual insanity.
You have 3 scratchings for $1 million race. That is insane. That's crazy. Yeah, this is not the best thing for racing, I don't think.
No.
Okay. Yellow Brick.
I think he wins this race.
He was favourite when he came down for the Silver Eagle last year, and it just wasn't his day.
No, he apparently had a virus. But anyway, was a good thing leaked in the Wheatwood resuming and then put him to the sword in the Tattersalls Members Cup, which is a listed race in Brisbane. Wouldn't be paying $1 million. Carrying the top weight there, 60.5 kilos, and he was just so much better than them. And I'm looking at this field, and I think it's crashed. I don't think it's crash hot. So, yes, I think Yellow Brick, he might actually string some together.
Yep. Okay. To get back run on horses who I think will run well. First one being Territory Express. Drew the widest in the Alan Brown, rattled home for 6th from absolutely nowhere. That's the Heat of Shock race if you're more a horse form reference type of person. I think the 5 Diamonds is clearly the grand final for this horse, but I like it for a country trainer. I forget his name. I think he's only got like 3 in work or something. So
Yeah, right.
I'd love him to get some more prize money for him. I think that'd be sensational. And then Osipenko. Like, there's no stars here. I think he could be a worse bet. And then I could even give Galeron a like, if I was giving him a case, and he was only beaten 5 lengths in the Epsom, back out to 1,500 metres, you know, he might run a race too. But
What about Freedom Rally, another Queensland horse? Want to see more from him this prep?
oh yeah, well that's the thing. We've just talked about 6 horses. Which kind of that kind of says where this race is at.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, I think that might be it, mate. Well done.
God, Jesus, there was some dross to wade through, but my favourite race this weekend, cannot wait, the Cox Plate.
Well, I think it'll be okay. I think there'll be... if anyone was going to just take their horse as a 4-year-old to the Cox Plate, I feel like it would have been Joe.
Yes.
Like, he's got that in him. He's got that dog in him.
He does have a bit of mongrel in him, Joe. Like, you know, we pod him a little bit on this podcast, but what you can say about Joe is he is who he is, and it's a lot more than what you can say for a lot of other people in this racing game, particularly the two of us.
Let's put it this way. Cheerwolf will not be featuring in a 5 Diamonds next year.
No, he won't.
No,
he won't. So, yeah, it's just... You know, I'm just a little bit negative. Sorry, Drifters. This podcast is unlike me. I just want what's best for the best sport in the world. That's what I want, the best for it, and I think we're being very short term view, not thinking about the bigger picture, which is going to be to the detriment of us all. It doesn't mean that it's going to stay this way. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. For example, today, Team Green talking about national tote pool.
love that.
Love that. Do you know why? Because it's good for us.
Yeah.
The casual punter. So, look, there's not everything set in stone.
Yeah.
Gilly.
All right. We will check. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. Haven't done this for a while, actually. Follow us on Instagram for a multitude of reasons. This weekend, you can see tips from the Brisbane Bully, the Sydney Source, the Victorian Victim, the Morphettville Mafia, and the Perth Prince. Instagram, Saturday mornings before the first jumps, typically. They will be on our Instagram story, and then you can give those pages a follow if you wish. We don't really know who manages them, but it's just like we collab on them, you know. And thank you for listening. Our listens have absolutely skyrocketed over the last week. I think it's like, you know, grand final. Spring has well and truly sprung.
Absolutely.
So if you wanted, give us a follow on YouTube and follow us along and make sure you subscribe, whether it's on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and if you have the time, leave a review on Apple if that's where you listen, or on YouTube, leave a comment down there. Best comment will get themselves an On the Drift cap.
Jeez, we're just, you know, we're packing serious heat, and we just want to share that heat with the drifters.
Yeah, would have thought so. But yeah, Follow us on the Instagram for those tips right around the country, but more importantly, for Cox Plate content, if we can post it. The data situation down there is no good.
Absolutely dross, isn't it?
Yeah, so if we can post it, it will obviously be up there. But yeah, it might be like some of our tipping mates.
After the fact?
After the fact. All right. If you're having a bet this weekend, do it with Neds. Do it responsibly. Good luck.
Good luck.